Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Newscast, where I'll be going over the top news of the last week in retro handhelds, retro gaming, and just gaming in general. It has been so long that intro took me 2 or 3 takes because I completely forgot how to do it. Look, it was a nice vacation. I am back. As always, when I'm not here, there's no news to talk about, of course, but now I'm back, so we have news to talk about. So today, we're going to go over, there's a bunch of devices that have gotten announced or are coming out. There's a bunch of software that got some updates and all the usual newscast stuff. So the stuff that you are here for, let's get into it. CEMU, the Wii U emulator, version 0.2 is out for Android. This adds custom driver support, which is big already, and it apparently fixes some games and issues like Twilight Princess. Apparently there was a map bug. And this fixes that, apparently. There's actually a ton more changes and fixes, a bunch of them, so this is a pretty great update all around. Now, if you stay silent for a second, you can hear the rush of all of those mechanical keyboards typing into Reddit. What is the best custom driver to use for my device? Sudachi, the Switch emulator, has been updated. However, I couldn't find the actual download anywhere, even their GitHub or the usual MU Place website that they usually host things on. So maybe there's some weirdness happening, but either way, there is a new update if you can find it. Mario Kart 64 has been fully ported to PC now, joining Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask and a bunch of other Nintendo 64 games that have gotten completely ported to PC. So it basically becomes the best way to experience Mario Kart 64, and it's now on the PC. Retroid Pocket 5 owners are starting to get over-the-air updates for a new update. The biggest change is updating the speakers and the audio, which it desperately needed. At least 7 months later, we have finally gotten something. I assume that Flip 2 owners will get something soon, maybe, if this goes well. The Flip 2 needs it as well. The Mini has been okay, but the Flip 2 definitely needs it. But I don't know if that's in the works or not. Just the Retroid Pocket 5 for now. Our first of 2 new PS2 emulators today, but Iris is now out for PC. This is obviously very early. Work in progress, all of that sort of thing. And I am just glad that we are finally getting developers working on other emulators besides Switch, including PS2, because why not? Now that was the PC side of things, but on the Android side, Trixarian, the Nether SX2 developer, has forked a project that ports PC SX2 to Android. Now, this is something that Trix has been trying to do for a while. It's supposed to be Ethereal SX2 at some point, but it looks like this is the starting point for him to just start the port over. And this is very early. It's nothing for you to keep an eye on yet, but progress is being made at least. So keep an eye out. Maybe in the future, both Iris and PCSX2 ARM64 will be something worth looking at in a few months. Last of the software news of the day, and GameNative is a Windows emulator for Android that also lets you run Steam games directly on Android. This seems to be a fork of Pluvia, but it adds support for DRM and Steam, and it is also open source as well. I would say be careful, as usual here, because for myself personally, I don't want to have anything bad happen to my Steam account, but it is open source, all that sort of thing. If you want to check through and see what other people are saying, it seems like it is legitimate, which is good. I am actually very interested to see how Android games perform, or how Steam games perform on Android. That will be interesting. Okay, so question of the week. It's been a while. But what devices have you bought this year? It's been a pretty slow year, all things considered. I think most people would agree. But I'm curious, what have you bought? It's been 6 months? Yeah, almost 7 months. So have you bought a few different devices? Have you bought nothing? Have you bought one device every month? I'm just curious. Let me know in the comments below. What have you bought this year and why, and what are you upgrading from? Speaking of devices, a new company is entering the handheld market. Mangmi? We're going to go with Mangmi. And it's the Air X. Now, normally I wouldn't report on random companies or random handhelds with no prior success and all that sort of thing, because that is just, it's danger. It's stranger danger. You don't want to do that. but this seems to be hitting all the right notes for a device that I've been saying that we actually need in the market. This has the Snapdragon 662 processor, so it's a bit older, but it is kind of in line with or a bit more powerful than T610 or T618. So it's the RG405M, RG or Retroid Pocket 3 Plus, a little bit better than that because it's Snapdragon. And it should have 4 gigabytes of RAM, 64 gigabytes of internal storage, 5,000 milliamp hour battery, and a 5.5-inch 1080p 16:9 display. Now you might be wondering, why do I care about this? The reason is, it seems like it could be a very good mid-tier device that we just don't have. Like, yeah, Retroid Pocket Classic exists, but again, it's a niche device. I love it, but it is niche. We need a bit more in that $110, $100, $120 price range. This could be that, given the chip, all that sort of thing, or it could be a little bit less. The Retroid Pocket 2S was $89 US with similar performance. So long story short, I want to see Nintendo 64 as fully playable, which is what the T610, T618, and what the 662 would have, and kind of entry-level PSP. That's a lot of games won't need frame skip for, so that's where I'm hoping this comes in, but we'll see. It is still unknown, all that sort of thing. A lot of things could go wrong, but I want to see more devices with these kind of processors, these kind of prices, and all that make up a mid-tier of the market. Continuing with that thought, and MagicX has some news about the upcoming MagicX One35, and I am actually pretty interested in this one, although it does seem like it might be a limited quantity sort of scenario, but we'll see. They've kind of released the amounts and quantities for the different colors, and it seems like it might be limited, but I don't know. Now, this has a 3.5-inch screen, inline shoulders, and one single joystick with 2 D-pads. Mostly, this would be used for vertical arcade games if you turn it vertical. That's the reason they're doing that. Now, my memory could be fuzzy on this, but I could swear that this is the same screen as the Ioneo Pocket Micro, that 3.5-inch, 4X GBA screen. I swear that's what they're using here, but I could not find confirmation of that. And I also remember seeing that this is going to use the new Allwinner processor that is coming out. But again, I could not find confirmation of that. All this information is somewhere on my Discord from people that post it, and then I lose track of it. So don't quote me on those two things, but I think I'm right on that. Pretty sure, which that makes it very interesting because if this is a cheaper Ioneo Pocket Micro, which it could be if it's using that same screen, that's where I am interested in. Game Boy Advance 4X, a little bit more expensive than a usual device. Yeah, I'm good for that. But we'll see. I don't actually remember what is in this or if they've announced it. Maybe I'm just making things up, but I swear those are the two things that are included. Now, in other MagicX news, the Zero 40 went up for pre-orders this week, and also the embargo lifted for reviews. That means if you go and check my channel today, you will see my video on a quick look for the Zero 40 and what my thoughts are and how it looks. Now, this is a very niche device. It is mostly meant for vertical arcade and Nintendo DS. It is perfect for those two reasons, if that's what you want to buy it for. And it's well built. It's all that sort of thing. So it's a good device all around, as long as you want it for those niche use cases. I don't think you would buy it for anything outside of that. That's my experience using it. But for vertical arcade and DS, then yeah, it's awesome. Now, as this month ends, our Game of the Month, ROM Hack of the Month, and Game of the Season are being voted on right now in the Discord. That means for July, you can check out the new games, ROM hacks, and Game of the Season runs to October. So we have a bit of a longer game that we do over a few months, and that's what we're voting on now is all 3. So come join the Discord, come play some games, come vote on some games, and have some fun. Use those devices. Now, as for what I have been playing, the answer is Persona 4 Golden. If we don't count my vacation, I was playing a bunch of Fantasy Life on vacation because that's what I kept for vacation. And then I beat the Fire Red Rocket Edition ROM hack that we were playing for ROM Hack of the Month. That was super fun. That's probably one of my more favorite ROM hacks for Pokemon because you're just a Team Rocket grunt going through the story. Super fun. But I am playing Persona 4 Golden right now. I have God mode on. And before you judge me, look, Persona, I love Persona. Persona 5 Royal, one of my favorite games. Persona 4 Golden, I am just finishing for the first time. They do something in those games where if your main character dies, we have to reload back to your save. And when you're in a dungeon in Persona 4 Golden, it's different than 5. You don't have any save points. You can pop out and save and come back in, but it's kind of annoying. So you have the chance to lose a whole bunch of time. And one of the things I hate the most in any video game is having my time wasted. So I just turned on God mode at like, I don't know what I'm at, 60 hours or something now. I'm in November, so I'm pretty close to the end. So I turned on God mode because I don't want to deal with that. And I'm trying to finish the game and finish the story up, all that sort of thing. But I love Persona. It's really fun. And I do turn on cheats in a lot of games when I want to finish the story. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And yeah, that music, that soundtrack, it's so good. Jumping over into game news now. And it looks like some people that are buying used or returned Switch 2s have run into issues with banned consoles. Now, I read through the article. I have experience with modded Switch 1s, and I wanted to see if there was anything different with the Switch 2 compared to the Switch 1. The answer seems to be no. It seems to be about the same from what I can tell. The issue here, it seems like they were trying to do a transfer from a previous console to the new one, and that utilizes Nintendo services. And if you know anything about Switch bans, the way it worked on Switch 1, it would ban the console from accessing the internet in the same way it works on Switch 2. So it seems like during the actual setup on the Switch 2, they were trying to do a transfer that utilizes the Nintendo network. They couldn't do it, found out that it was banned, all that sort of thing. So I know a lot of people are going to get all hung up on this and be like, oh no, like what happens now if I buy a Switch 2 used, all that sort of thing. The answer is just test it when you're grabbing it or grab it from a place that has a return policy that you can return it. That way you're covered. But none of this is different than the Switch 1. Switch 1 worked the same way, as far as I can tell. Nothing is really different here. So yeah, just be careful if you're buying a used Switch 2 that you want to check that it can connect to Nintendo services before you buy it. Monster Hunter Wild reviews are hitting overwhelmingly negative on Steam because of performance mostly and content. But it's performance, and we all know it's performance. The game runs awfully. I personally tried it and I refunded it pretty instantly. And it doesn't run well on really anything, consoles included. So this isn't just specific to Steam, but it is interesting that this is happening months after release when we knew day one that it didn't run well. Now, the problem here is this game sold over 10 million copies across all consoles and Steam. So I don't know what lesson they're going to learn from this because they sold well and people bought it despite knowing performance issues. Like, this wasn't new, and it's not new now. We knew it during reviews. We knew it day one, but people bought it. So this is the weird part of you want this to get fixed, but also they made more money than anything. So it's the Pokemon situation, really. Like, yes, I am a terrible person. I will buy Pokemon games because I like them, but they're not going to get better if people keep buying them. So it's that situation here. At some point, the people that don't care about this stuff overrule the people that do. And so this is the situation that happens. And it's unfortunate because from all accounts, this is a good game, just sucks performance-wise. And so as somebody who would want to play this, even though I don't like Monster Hunter, I'd still want to try it. I'm just going to wait. And if it doesn't get fixed, I just won't buy it. That's where I'm at. Now, on the complete opposite end, a game with good PC performance, Metaphor Refantazio, has apparently only sold 2 million copies. And I found this to be very interesting. 2 million to me is very low, like super, super low. I don't know about you guys looking at this. Maybe I'm wrong, but when I think of Atlas, when I think of Persona, when I think of Metaphor, 2 million's low. Like, it really is. I don't know. I would have expected a lot more for a game like this. A game that actually won a few awards at the Game Awards too. So it's not unknown. It's not a bad game. It's actually a really good game. Has good performance. It doesn't have anything negative really about it. So it's interesting to see it only sell 2 million copies. And then on the other hand, you have Monster Hunter Wilds that are selling 10 million and they don't care about the people that they sell to. You know what I mean? I mean, Atlas isn't perfect either, obviously, but it's a good game. It should sell more than 2 million. That's where I'm at. All right, let's jump into the Newscast Q&A. We have one question today, so it's not a big week. But if you want to send in your questions, the Newscast Discord channel, if you want to join the Discord, send it in through there. Or newscast@joeysretrohandhelds.com is the email address. It's up to you. So this question comes in from Liz, and it was actually from our last newscast where we were talking about pocketability for handhelds. And Liz asks, as a woman whose clothes mostly don't have pockets, why does pocketability matter so much? Why are people so willing to compromise ergonomics for slimness when it really isn't that hard to carry a sling bag, purse, or something else to hold a handheld? Okay, Liz. So, as somebody who does use a sling bag daily and often, it is the best way to carry things around. I am in complete agreement with you. That is why I have a sling bag, so I don't have to carry things in my pocket. I put it all in my sling bag, all that sort of thing. However, there are many, I'm gonna go for the men on this one. There are many men who have masculinity issues with carrying a sling bag because they think it isn't very masculine to carry a sling bag and rather walk around like George Costanza holding their wallet in their back pocket, having a big phone and device in their front pockets, and just looking weirdly walking around with things bulging out of everywhere. So that is the main reason I think that people are against sling bags, despite the fact of how good they are. I couldn't live without a sling bag at this point. So that is my thought. There are still people that are out there that are just stuffing things in their pockets nowadays still. Or maybe just being like to their wife or spouse or whatever, hey, can you hold this for me when we're walking around? There is still many of those. But yes, I completely agree. Sling bag is the way to go. That way you can pretty much put any handheld you want in there. Like I have my Flip 1 in my sling bag, but I could fit an Ally X in there. I could fit my Odin 2 Portal in there. I could put whatever I want in my sling bag. It's not a massive one either. It just fits in there. So yeah, that's where I stand. I am with you, Liz. I am in complete agreement. But there are people out there that want to just pocket a device for whatever reason. Sometimes it's a jacket or whatever, and they don't want to have a sling bag. But yeah, I mean, upgrade your life. Sling bag. It's the best of all worlds. Why not? That's all we have this week from questions. So again, you can send in your questions if you want. Appreciate you all for watching. And that's all from me, Ottawa,